Are you one of the millions of Americans making this critical mistake with your finances? In this video, we are going to show you exactly what that critical mistake is, and we are also going to introduce you to a very simple tool that will allow you to crush debt and win with money. So what is that financial mistake that millions of Americans are making? That's not following a monthly budget. Your budget is kind of like a blueprint for your own financial success. But surprisingly, 73% of Americans don't follow one, making it significantly harder for them to crush debt or plan for goals or even watch their overspending in certain categories. So what does this mean for you? If you find yourself in a ton of consumer debt, it means that you're normal. But in this case, normal isn't a good thing. It actually sucks. I'm sorry. In the remainder of the video, we're going to showcase the tips that will empower you to use a budget effectively and even use your budget to become debt-free on the fast track, which is really cool. Finally, we'll do a quick demo of a zero-based budgeting tool that we really like, and so you can see how it works and help you in your financial journey. Budgeting tip number 1 is be consistent about budgeting. Make a budget monthly for the rest of your financial life. Even millionaires do this. In fact, it's one of the reasons that they have become so wealthy because they're very intentional with their money. They know exactly how it's being spent. They know where every single dollar went every single month. And those who are good with money will tell their money what to do and where to go. And a budget is the absolute perfect way to execute this. Budgeting tip number 2 is save for a starter emergency fund using your budget. So you can use your budget to build a starter emergency fund pretty easily. If you're going to do the debt snowball, which is listing all of your debts smallest to largest by the amount that you owe, not the interest rate, you need to first build a starter emergency fund of about 1 month's worth of expenses. That's roughly $2,000 to $3,000 for most American homes. Using a tool like EveryDollar can really help you track the growth of your starter emergency fund, and you can see how long it's going to take you to actually accomplish this. So that's an important thing. EveryDollar is a free tool, so you can check that out either in the App Store or go visit everydollar.com. Budgeting tip number 3 is get out of debt using your budget. Now, this is the debt snowball. This is the way that this channel really recommends getting out of debt. It is a fast-tracked method of paying off debt in 24 months or less. Essentially, you list all of your consumer debts, smallest to largest, by the amount that you owe, not the interest rate, and then you apply all of the extra money that you have every month to the smallest debt until that debt is crushed, and then you move to debt 2, and then debt 3, and then debt 4, and so on. Having a budget will help you clear out some of those unnecessary expenses so you can throw more money towards debt. And if you've done all of that and you still don't have any extra money, then it's time to get a side hustle going or be a little bit creative, maybe have some yard sales, sell some things, get some things going for you. But you need to understand where every dollar is going before you really begin to use it. And that's really why I like this EveryDollar program. Like I said, it is a free budgeting app that has the debt snowball built right into the software. So you don't have to do any fancy trickery with Excel spreadsheets. You can just get started. Budgeting tip number 4 is track your overspending. And we all have at least one category where we tend to overspend on. Mine is food, restaurants, grocery stores. It's a thing. Some people, it's online shopping. You know, a budget will consistently show you what categories you are weak in and need to focus on a little bit more carefully. It catches the overspending early before it becomes a real big financial mistake, which we'll all be grateful for. Wouldn't it be nice to fix a lot of our financial mistakes? In the first 90 days, they will be a little bit rough. You're going to feel like an ashtray on a motorcycle because things won't be smooth sailing. You're going to overspend in some categories. You may have not put enough in one category and you have to readjust. But after a couple of months, I promise you'll be budgeting like a pro. Budgeting tip number 5 is review your monthly budget regularly. Now, this is a classic mistake that people make because initially they get inspired to make the budget, but then they get complacent and they just don't follow the budget really at all. And that's probably why we have 73% of Americans that aren't budgeting successfully. Now, this is something that you really need to understand. It makes the budget absolutely, utterly useless. So you might as well go do something else with your time if you're not going to use it. So I liken it to designing blueprints to a house and then chucking those blueprints at the last minute only to build the house using your imagination and seeing how it goes. Don't make that mistake. Look at your budget regularly. It will save your life. If you have made it this far, we would really love it if you drop a little dollar bill emoji in the comments below. I will be sure to like it and write a comment to you. And if there's a video that you would like us to make, we would be thrilled to make it for you. So just leave that in the comments as well, and we'll be sure to do some research and make that video for you. Now, let's jump into that budgeting demo. So let's get started. Paychecks number 1 and 2 equal about $7,500 a month. So that's what this family is bringing in the month. And for this exercise, we're not going to talk about churches or charities here. We're just going to focus on money in and money out. When we're looking at bills and subscriptions, the usual suspects are here. Everything from mortgage to water, natural gas, electricity, internet, all that stuff, streaming services, it's all here. Health insurance. And a lot of these are going to be fixed costs and we can't change them. Maybe things like auto insurance we might be able to adjust every now and then, but for the sake of this demo, we're going to pretty much leave this section alone. Now, the next category, which is just spending, this is where we can have a little bit of fun. We can see that we have $800 in groceries here. We have about $300 for restaurants, $200 for gas, clothing, hair, all of that is there all the way down to miscellaneous. And down here we get to all of the debt that we currently have for this family. $1,847 on credit card number 1, $6,122 on credit card 2, and so on and so forth. As you can see, each debt is placed in the amount smallest to largest by the amount, not the interest rate. There's no interest rate here. It's just you start with the smallest amount, work your way up to the biggest amount, and that's why they call it a snowball, debt snowball. So right now, what we're doing as this family is basically putting down about $1,000 a month extra on their debt with the income that they've got. And so, yeah, they'll have that card paid off, in about 2 months or so, no big deal. And then they can move to the next one and the next one. But we really want to be able to give them just a little bit more breathing room. Otherwise, they're going to have to either, take a part-time job or, get some type of side hustle going or sell some things regularly, And so you always want to start with the income that you currently have and see, by using your budget, see how you can trim down. And that's what we're doing here. So it's $800 a month for this family, and I'm kind of assuming that this is a family of 4 with 2 young kids, and they're spending about $800 a month going to the supermarket. And I'm gonna put them on a little bit of a tighter budget. I'm gonna say $650. All right, we're gonna make them shop at Aldi a little bit more. And we're going to cut out restaurants entirely because we're really trying to just get out of debt. So we want to be able to claw back as much of our own money as we can so we can throw it at the debt. We just get out of debt just that much faster there. Clothing is something that really should just be bought at a necessity when you're trying to get out of debt. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of clear that out all the way. And hair and skincare, well, we're gonna leave our wives something, let's say $50, and we're gonna cut this fun and entertainment budget down to $100. All right, and that tightens up the budget a little bit, but it leaves us an extra it leaves us an extra $800 to play with, a total of $1,800. So when we come down here, we can look at our debt profile here and say, ooh, okay, I have an extra $800. Let's put that in there. And then your budget becomes an every dollar budget again, which is really good. But you have basically crippled this debt. You only have $47 left. And if it were me and I was in this situation, I'd just find the extra $47 and just pay off that card and get that credit card one out of the way in the first month. That'd be really, really cool. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this $1,800 and you're going to place it down here on credit card number 2. And so you're going to pay $1,900 on that card until it is paid off. And then, once you're done with credit card 2, then you take that $1,900 and you apply it to car loan number 1. But that's a little kind of snapshot or glimpse of how the debt snowball works. And the beautiful thing about it is, if you're using this method and you find yourself in a situation with a pretty long list of consumer debts, and you want to go out and earn a little bit of extra money, you just add some extra income. So let's say you get another job where you're doing something on the side, Uber Eats, whatever, and you make an extra $1,000. Great. That's an extra $1,000 you can put towards your debt and get out of debt just that much faster. Now, the beauty of ridding yourself of consumer debt is financial freedom. You'll have money left over at the end of the month, and you can do some really great things with that. You could invest, or you could pay off your home early, or you could set up a college fund for your kids, which is really awesome. They'll never have to know what a student loan debt is because you already took care of them and you changed everything about your family by doing that. Being debt-free also puts you in a place of generosity with strangers, with friends, with family. It's much easier for a person to be generous if they don't have any debt holding them back. That's why it's paramount for you to diligently make that monthly budget. And if you're in consumer debt, work your way through the debt snowball and get yourself out of debt, because those who touch their budgets regularly will tend to be intentional with their money. Those who are intentional with their money win with money. So that's where I'm going to leave you today. If you took any value from this video, we would be honored to have your subscription. If you also wouldn't mind giving the video a like, it really does help us on the YouTube algorithm. We are a new channel and we're growing it from the ground up as a family, using the principles that got us out of debt and on the road to wealth. And we want to share that with as many people as possible so they too can get out of debt, become wealthy, and be generous. Because generosity is probably one of the kindest things that you could ever offer back to the world. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.